Imagine uncovering a story that's been hidden in the folds of ancient texts, one that brings new depth to the life of one of history's greatest leaders. We know Moses as the liberator, the lawgiver, and the prophet. But what about his life behind the scenes? Here lies the untold secret of Moses' forgotten wife, a figure whose quiet strength and pivotal influence shaped his journey in ways we seldom hear about. Isn't it fascinating to think that even the most powerful men rely on those around them, often in ways we'd never expect? This isn't just a tale of love or tradition, it's a story of courage, spiritual insight, and, yes, even a bit of mystery that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Moses. Ready to dive into the hidden chapters of his life? You'll be surprised by the twists, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see the remarkable power that one person's influence can wield, even in the life of a prophet. Zipporah, often an overlooked character in Moses' story, was far more than just a name in ancient texts. She was the woman who stood beside one of history's most significant figures. Imagine a life bound to a man carrying the weight of divine destiny. That was Zipporah's role. And while most focus on Moses' monumental feats, it's Zipporah's quiet strength that often goes unnoticed. As his first wife, her influence weaves through the story of his journey, a reminder that even the mightiest leaders need someone grounded by their side. Her presence brought an often unspoken balance to Moses' intense path. Their connection begins in an unlikely place, a desert far removed from Egyptian opulence, when Moses, in fleeing his past and grappling with his identity, stumbled into Midian. It was Zipporah who would give him a reason to anchor himself anew. Here, far from the turmoil of his former life, Moses found stability in her companionship. Just as in our own lives, sometimes the most transformative relationships arise when we least expect them, reminding us that even in barren deserts, new paths emerge. Zipporah became that for Moses, a pillar in the sand. You could say Zipporah wasn't just a support but a bridge. She came from a different world, a Midianite culture that Moses had little understanding of, yet they merged their worlds, blending traditions, beliefs, and perspectives. This union speaks volumes about the beauty of two diverse souls coming together, each bringing something unique to the relationship. Think about it. How often do we find our lives enriched by those who see the world differently from us? Moses and Zipporah's marriage illustrates that there's power in bridging gaps and finding harmony in differences. As Moses settled into his life in Midian, he began to shed the identity of a fugitive and embrace his calling. And through this transition, Zipporah's quiet presence grounded him. Picture this: a man preparing for a destiny he didn't yet fully grasp, with a family and a woman who believed in him by his side. In our own lives, we all undergo transformations, personal, professional, or spiritual. And having someone like Zipporah, who sees us beyond our flaws and fears, can be a compass in those transformative times. One pivotal moment that truly defines Zipporah's strength and depth of character comes when she saves Moses' life. In an act that reveals her understanding of ancient customs and spiritual foresight, she circumcises their son in a life-or-death situation, sparing Moses from danger. This act wasn't just about tradition, it showed her willingness to step up in faith when it mattered most. How many of us would have that kind of courage? Zipporah's bravery here is a call for each of us to trust our instincts, especially when the stakes are high. But her journey wasn't without challenges. As Moses continued his divine mission, he would be led in directions that caused tension in their family life. Later texts even mention another wife, a Cushite woman, stirring mystery and complexity within their relationships. Zipporah's story, with its highs and lows, is a testament to resilience and adaptability. Like anyone whose partner has a demanding role, she faced the weight of Moses' mission, which sometimes meant sacrificing her own desires and comfort. Beyond being a wife, Zipporah was influenced by her father, Jethro, a wise figure in her life and a guiding presence for Moses. Jethro's counsel on delegation would later play a crucial role in Moses' leadership, showing how Zipporah's family supported his calling. This connection demonstrates how our relationships often shape our impact on the world. Just as Jethro advised Moses, the people in our lives often hold keys to our growth, whether we recognize it or not. Zipporah's family was that for Moses, an unseen yet vital part of his success. Zipporah's story reminds us of the hidden figures who stand beside history's giants. Her strength, sacrifice, and steadfastness helped shape Moses' journey, even if she wasn't the one receiving the commandments on the mountain. She may not be widely celebrated, but her impact is undeniable, a reminder that not all heroes stand in the spotlight. And as we consider her legacy, we're left with questions about the quieter influences in our own lives. Who stands beside us, unseen yet crucial to our path? Moses' life took a dramatic turn when he met Zipporah in the quiet, unassuming land of Midian. Here was a man who had left behind a life of luxury in Egypt, only to find himself in a desert, a fugitive with a mysterious future. It's often in the simplest places that we meet those who change us the most. Moses, stripped of his past and seeking purpose, encountered Zipporah near a well, a place symbolic of new beginnings. That encounter was more than fate. It was the start of a partnership that would shape his journey. When Moses defended Zipporah and her sisters from hostile shepherds, he wasn't just acting out of kindness. He was stepping into a new role. Imagine the courage it took for him to intervene, risking his safety for strangers. This act of bravery would mark the beginning of his transformation. Each of us can relate to moments when we feel compelled to act beyond ourselves, stepping out of our comfort zones. In that one action, Moses set the stage for the life that awaited him in Midian and beyond. Zipporah's father, Jethro, a wise priest, took notice of Moses' valor and character, inviting him to stay with his family. Jethro recognized something special in Moses. We all need mentors and guides who can see our potential, especially when we're at our lowest. Jethro, in a way, saw beyond Moses' status as a runaway and offered him refuge. Just as Jethro welcomed Moses, we're reminded of how powerful it is to offer someone a chance, a place to belong when they're adrift. This meeting at the well became the foundation for a union that went far beyond cultural and religious boundaries. Moses and Zipporah came from two entirely different worlds, yet there was a connection that transcended those differences. This story speaks to the beauty of partnerships that bridge divides. How many of us have formed bonds with people vastly different from us, finding common ground that enriches our lives? Their marriage is a reminder that unity can often flourish in diversity. Life in Midian was nothing like the royal courts of Egypt, yet it was here that Moses found peace. Surrounded by nature, tending sheep, and sharing daily life with Zipporah, he began to understand humility and simplicity. This period away from Egypt was crucial for Moses, and it was Zipporah's companionship that helped anchor him in this new reality. In our lives too, sometimes we need a period of quiet, a desert phase, to rediscover what truly matters. Moses found that grounding with Zipporah by his side. This bond between Moses and Zipporah was forged in adversity and shared purpose. Together, they faced the trials of desert life, building a family and a future. Their union reminds us that love is not always born out of ease, but through shared struggles and resilience. They found strength in one another, and through their relationship, Moses grew closer to his calling. The trials they faced as a couple were a foundation for the greater challenges Moses would soon encounter. Through Zipporah, Moses experienced the Midianite culture, expanding his understanding of faith and spirituality beyond his Egyptian upbringing. Her influence brought new dimensions to his spiritual journey. We see this in our own lives when those we love introduce us to new perspectives, broadening our horizons and challenging us to grow. Zipporah's heritage added layers to Moses' character, showing that love often means embracing more than just a person. It's about welcoming their entire world. The desert wasn't just a place of refuge, it was a place of transformation. In Midian, Moses was no longer the prince of Egypt nor merely a runaway. He was becoming a shepherd and a leader. Zipporah's role in his life was integral to this metamorphosis. Their time together in the wilderness molded Moses into the figure who would eventually lead an entire nation. As their journey continued, this meeting in the desert would prove to be only the beginning of a partnership that would shape history. Moses and Zipporah's marriage was a powerful symbol of two worlds coming together, each bringing unique values and perspectives. Moses, raised in the Egyptian court, carried the influence of an empire's grandeur and intellect, while Zipporah, a Midianite, was rooted in the simpler, nomadic traditions of her people. Together, they represented a union that transcended boundaries, blending their backgrounds in a way that enriched both their lives. Just like in our world, where marriages and partnerships often merge different cultures, their story shows how love can be a bridge between worlds. This union wasn't just personal, it carried a spiritual dimension. Moses and Zipporah's marriage illustrated how God can unite people from vastly different paths for a greater purpose. Sometimes in life, we meet individuals who challenge our views, opening our eyes to truths we never considered. This was Zipporah's role in Moses' life. Their partnership reminds us that our differences can become our strengths, teaching us patience, understanding, and the art of compromise, values that make any relationship thrive. Moses, a Hebrew raised as an Egyptian, already embodied a mix of cultures within himself. Yet as with Zipporah, this fusion of identities deepened, allowing him to step into his future role with an understanding of diversity. Their marriage brought a new perspective to his faith journey, as he learned about God through the lens of her Midianite beliefs. It's a reminder that each of us, when open to other perspectives, can gain a richer understanding of our own beliefs. Seeing faith as a tapestry of shared wisdom, Zipporah, too, found herself embracing a life different from her own. Living with Moses, she was introduced to a calling and purpose beyond her own traditions. This exchange of beliefs and customs between them showed that love is often about embracing each other's stories, even if they challenge our comfort zones. For anyone who's ever shared their life with someone from a different background, Moses and Zipporah's story highlights the growth that comes from these differences, making us more adaptable, compassionate, and wise. Their relationship could teach us a thing or two about acceptance. Moses and Zipporah found common ground despite their differences, teaching us that true harmony doesn't erase individuality, it celebrates it. When we welcome someone's culture into our lives, we're not only accepting them, we're embracing their values, beliefs, and heritage. Moses' journey alongside Zipporah is a testament to the fact that love's strength lies not in uniformity, but in unity through diversity. Interestingly, their marriage also serves as a model of cooperation. In a time where cultural divisions were stark, they worked together, blending traditions in their family life. We all have moments when collaboration with someone different from us brings unexpected challenges but also profound insights. Moses and Zipporah's partnership reminds us of the beauty that emerges when we embrace differences and work together toward a shared purpose, whether in family, friendships, or even in our communities. In this union, Moses was also prepared for the diverse community he would later lead. A people of many backgrounds and perspectives, Zipporah's presence in his life was a stepping stone, teaching him patience, empathy, and the ability to bridge divides. Leaders today could take a lesson from this. Embracing diversity not only strengthens character but also prepares us to connect with a broader world. Zipporah's influence played a subtle yet transformative role, equipping Moses with the skills needed for his monumental mission. Their union reminds us that sometimes the most profound growth happens when we're exposed to new perspectives, even if they initially feel foreign. Zipporah's influence was like a quiet force, helping Moses understand that his journey wasn't just for himself. It was for a community and a calling greater than his individual life. As their story unfolds, this union of two cultures sets the stage for Moses' next steps, showing us that every encounter with difference is an opportunity for growth. During his years in Midian, Moses went through a profound transformation, transitioning from a prince on the run to a shepherd, learning the ways of the land. With Zipporah by his side, he experienced a quiet life, one that contrasted sharply with the luxuries and conflicts of Egypt. This period was essential in preparing him for the challenges he would later face. It's often in these quieter moments that we find ourselves, stripped of distractions. We connect to deeper purpose. Moses' time in the desert wasn't just a waiting period, it was a forge for his soul. Moses' new life brought him face to face with humility, a quality that had little room in the Egyptian court. As a shepherd, he learned patience, responsibility, and the value of tending to the flock, a role that symbolically prepared him to lead a nation. Zipporah too played her part, sharing the daily tasks and forming a life with him that would shape his perspective. Sometimes, transformation comes not from grand events, but from the simple acts of daily life, which mold us quietly yet deeply. This life in Midian allowed Moses to rediscover himself, far from the roles imposed on him by others. With Zipporah's support, he could strip away the layers of his past and start fresh, It's a bit like when we leave a demanding job or an old environment and find the space to reconnect with our true selves. Moses' transformation shows us that stepping away from our comfort zones can bring clarity about who we are and what we're meant to do. Through this journey, Zipporah became a constant source of support, grounding him during moments of doubt. Moses, facing the challenge of redefining himself, found in her a steady presence. Sometimes, we all need someone who believes in us when we're uncertain, someone who can see beyond our current struggles. Zipporah's quiet faith in Moses' potential was instrumental in his transformation, a reminder of how powerful it is to have that one person who holds hope for us, even when we doubt ourselves. The desert also became Moses' teacher, revealing to him the value of solitude. Away from the distractions of Egyptian life, he could finally listen to the wind, to his own thoughts, and perhaps even to God's whisper. In today's fast-paced world, we often forget the power of solitude to guide our growth. Like Moses, we can benefit from stepping back and finding a place, even if only in our minds, where we can hear what truly matters. In Midian, Moses not only became a husband and father, but a man with a calling that he was beginning to understand.
Zipporah's companionship in this journey helped him shape this purpose. She wasn't just his partner, she was part of his transformation. Their life together showed that sometimes the biggest changes happen when we least expect them, in the midst of routine and simplicity. It's a reminder that even the mundane moments are preparing us for something greater. As Moses grew in this new role, he gradually realized that his life had a mission beyond his personal story.
He wasn't just the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter or a shepherd in the desert. He was part of something bigger. Each of us, in our own way, undergoes transformations that lead us to this realization that our lives have a purpose beyond our own desires. Moses' journey shows that sometimes destiny finds us when we're quietly tending to the everyday. Moses' transformation wasn't complete yet. He was still becoming the leader he would eventually need to be. Zipporah's role in this was subtle but profound, supporting his growth without overshadowing it. The desert prepared him, but it was only the beginning. As he embraced his identity and purpose, the next steps of his journey would reveal even greater challenges. With Zipporah by his side, Moses' transformation was well underway, setting the stage for what lay ahead. One of the most striking moments in Zipporah's story is when she takes decisive action to save Moses' life. This event is mysterious yet powerful, revealing her spiritual insight and courage. When God sought to confront Moses, Zipporah stepped in, circumcising their son as a protective act. Imagine the weight of that moment. Acting on instinct and faith, she saved Moses through an ancient ritual she deeply understood. This episode shows how, even in moments of crisis, Zipporah's quick thinking was pivotal in securing their family's future. In a sense, Zipporah's action was more than a ritual. It was a declaration of her own spiritual commitment. Her understanding of this tradition demonstrated her knowledge of divine customs, even when Moses hesitated. Sometimes, life presents us with moments where we have to step up, even if others falter. Zipporah's decisive action reminds us that courage often means trusting our instincts and acting on them, even when the stakes are high. Her willingness to perform the circumcision herself speaks to her resilience and adaptability. Zipporah didn't wait for anyone else to intervene. She took matters into her own hands. It's a reminder that each of us, at times, must take bold action when circumstances demand it. In those critical moments, hesitation can be costly, and Zipporah's story teaches us to act when we know what's right, even if we're stepping into the unknown. This act of bravery also hints at the strength of her faith, a deep, almost unspoken understanding of God's demands. Zipporah's spiritual insight allowed her to recognize the importance of this action without needing explanation. How often do we find ourselves in situations where we must act on what we feel is right, even without full understanding? Zipporah's story encourages us to listen to that inner voice that guides us, especially when reason alone isn't enough. Interestingly, this event also highlights a shift in Moses' journey. Zipporah's action was a pivotal moment, marking the beginning of Moses' transformation into a leader fully committed to his mission. Through her courage, Zipporah played a role in shaping his destiny. In our own lives, too, there are people who act as catalysts, moving us forward in ways we might not recognize immediately. Zipporah was that for Moses, a reminder of the subtle yet powerful influence of those close to us. This story also reveals the strength of Zipporah's character, as she didn't shy away from difficult tasks that even Moses hesitated to undertake. Her role in the situation shows the importance of standing firm in moments of spiritual significance. For anyone who has ever had to take a difficult step to protect their loved ones, Zipporah's story is a testament to the power of love and duty to guide our actions, even in unfamiliar terrain. Zipporah's bravery wasn't about personal glory. It was about fulfilling a role in a moment of divine importance. Her act was a quiet, profound demonstration of loyalty and love for her family. It shows us that sometimes, being a hero doesn't mean standing in the spotlight but doing what is needed in the shadows. Zipporah's decisive action teaches us that small, unseen acts of courage can have a lasting impact, far beyond what anyone might notice at the time. As Moses continued his journey, this moment with Zipporah would serve as a reminder of the faith and strength required for the road ahead. Her influence on him was unmistakable, shaping him for the challenges that lay in his path. And so, as we look at Zipporah's decisive action, we see a woman who, in one moment, forever changed the course of their story. Her courage opened a path, setting the stage for the extraordinary events that would follow. The mention of Moses' Cushite wife adds an intriguing layer of mystery and complexity to his family life. This unnamed woman, identified only by her ethnicity, raises questions about Moses' relationships and the dynamics within his household. Imagine the tension this might have created, especially with Zipporah already established in his life. In ancient times, marriages often bridged cultural or political divides, and Moses' union with a Cushite woman likely carried its own significance. This detail opens up a window into the complexities of Moses' role as both a leader and a man balancing family loyalties. This Cushite wife, though briefly mentioned, stirred a controversy that's hard to ignore. In fact, Aaron and Miriam, Moses' siblings, spoke against him because of her, highlighting how cultural prejudices and family tensions can intersect. How often do we see similar challenges today, where family members struggle to accept relationships that go against their expectations? This scenario reminds us of the delicate balance leaders and people often have to maintain between personal choices and familial expectations. While the Bible doesn't delve into the details of this relationship, the presence of Moses' Cushite wife suggests that his journey wasn't only about leading a nation, it was also about navigating complex family dynamics. Think about it. Moses wasn't just a prophet. He was a man, with all the challenges and intricacies that come with personal relationships. This part of his life humanizes him, showing that even those with great responsibilities face the same personal challenges as anyone else. Interestingly, this tension became a turning point, with God stepping in to defend Moses against criticism from his own family. This defense by God emphasizes the importance of respect and understanding in relationships, particularly when they involve cultural differences. Moses' experience here encourages us to stand firm in our choices, even if others don't understand. The way God intervened is a reminder that faith and respect should guide our interactions, even when we don't see eye to eye. For Zipporah, this situation would have introduced complexities in her own life as Moses' first wife. Managing relationships and loyalty would have been challenging in an environment where customs were strict and family ties held deep influence. Many of us today navigate similar dynamics in blended or diverse families, where acceptance and harmony take effort and understanding. Zipporah's story here highlights the strength needed to embrace differences and stand by those we love, despite social pressures. This Cushite wife, unnamed yet significant, symbolizes the diversity that surrounded Moses throughout his journey. From his Egyptian upbringing to his Midianite family and now a Cushite partner, Moses' life reflected a tapestry of backgrounds and influences. Leaders today can draw from this, seeing that diversity within one's personal life can enrich their perspectives and leadership. Moses' unique family structure demonstrated that diversity is not just a public ideal, but something that can deeply shape one's personal and spiritual journey. The presence of a Cushite wife also illustrates how Moses' life was far from conventional. His relationships spanned cultures, and his role demanded an openness that challenged traditional norms. In a world that often clings to homogeneity, Moses' family story reminds us of the strength that lies in embracing difference, even when it complicates life. Each of us, in our own relationships, can learn from Moses' willingness to cross boundaries and accept others, not just out of duty, but out of a genuine respect for diversity. As this chapter in Moses' life unfolds, we see a leader who wasn't confined to a single identity or cultural box. His relationships, including the one with his Cushite wife, mirrored his journey of bridging divides and walking a path that wasn't always easy or accepted by others. Moses' life, in this sense, was a model of inclusivity before its time, showing that true unity can only come when we embrace every part of the story, even the parts that are complex or misunderstood. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, was more than just a family figure. He was a mentor whose wisdom guided Moses during a crucial period of his journey. Jethro's advice on delegation wasn't merely practical, it was transformative, offering Moses insights that would reshape his approach to leadership. Picture this: Moses, overwhelmed by the demands of guiding an entire people, found himself trying to handle everything alone. Jethro, observing this, offered a solution that would make his responsibilities manageable. It's a timeless lesson on the power of mentorship and the importance of leaning on others' experience. Jethro saw Moses struggling under the weight of his role and gently advised him to appoint others to help. This advice wasn't just about lightening the load, it was about empowering others and creating a sustainable leadership model. We've all been in situations where we feel we have to do it all, but Jethro's guidance is a reminder that collaboration often leads to greater success. By encouraging Moses to delegate, Jethro helped him realize that true leadership isn't about doing everything, it's about trusting others to share the journey. This delegation model that Jethro proposed set a foundation for organized governance among the Israelites. It wasn't just practical for Moses, it was transformative for the people he led, allowing them to take on roles and responsibilities within the community. Imagine how different our workplaces, families, and communities would be if we embraced this model, empowering each other to take on meaningful roles. Jethro's wisdom showed that when people are trusted with responsibility, they rise to the occasion, strengthening the whole. For Moses, Jethro's guidance was a humbling reminder that even a prophet could benefit from wise counsel. This relationship teaches us that no matter how capable we are, there's always room for growth. Sometimes, the best advice comes from unexpected sources, and it's often those who know us well, like family, who see what we need most clearly. Jethro's advice helped Moses develop the humility needed for his mission, a quality that can sometimes be more valuable than any skill. Jethro's role in Moses' life reminds us of the importance of intergenerational wisdom. Jethro, a seasoned priest of Midian, brought a perspective that Moses, despite his calling, needed to hear. In our lives, too, guidance from those with more experience can illuminate paths we hadn't considered. Jethro didn't just give Moses advice, he modeled a way of thinking that balanced wisdom with practicality. His influence lives on in every leader who recognizes the value of seeking counsel. What's inspiring about Jethro's counsel is how it wasn't forced. It was offered with respect for Moses' autonomy. Jethro respected Moses' role and didn't undermine his authority. Instead, he equipped him to lead more effectively. This approach to mentorship is powerful, as it empowers others without diminishing their confidence. In our relationships, this kind of support, where we offer help without imposing, can foster growth and independence. Jethro's example encourages us to offer guidance with respect and sensitivity. For Moses, this guidance was more than just practical advice. It was a spiritual reminder to trust in God's provision. By lightening his load, Moses could focus on his unique calling without burning out. We, too, can learn from this. Managing our responsibilities and delegating where possible allows us to give our best to what truly matters. Jethro's wisdom echoes in every moment when we step back, share the load, and allow ourselves to breathe. As Moses took Jethro's advice to heart, he grew not just as a leader, but as a person open to learning from others. This mentorship moment marks a turning point in his journey, preparing him for the greater challenges ahead. Jethro's guidance was just one chapter, but it left an imprint on Moses that shaped his path forward. With his newfound approach, Moses would continue his journey, more prepared than ever for the road ahead. Now that you've uncovered the hidden layers of Moses' life, especially the impact of those who walked alongside him, how will this change your perspective? Zipporah's courage, Jethro's wisdom, and even the mystery surrounding his Cushite wife. All of these relationships show us that our lives are woven with influences that shape our purpose. Think about it. Who in your life plays a quiet but crucial role? Who supports, guides, or challenges you in ways that propel you forward? If this story inspired you to look deeper into the lives of those around you, then don't let it end here. Let's keep exploring, uncovering, and connecting the ancient wisdom that still speaks to us today. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, and join our community as we dive into stories that offer not only knowledge but lessons to live by. What other secrets do these ancient texts hold? Stay with us and let's discover them together.